What I've got next to me here is the Insta360 Link. It's an AI-powered webcam that costs $300 and is packed with tons of features. But should you buy it, and is it worth parting with your hard-earned money for? The answer for most people is probably no. But in this video, I'm going to be going through the main features of this webcam and who I think would benefit from them, to give you a better idea of who I think this webcam is for. So the first and most obvious thing is this webcam is made by Insta360 and it's also on a gimbal. So obviously it's going to have amazing AI tracking features. The tracking actually works really well, and as you saw in the last clip, you can actually set it to zoom in and out as you get further away from the camera. I think this could be really useful if you're a streamer. Obviously normal webcams won't follow you around the room, but this one can. If you're a content creator trying to demonstrate something, or if you're in a live call as well, like a Zoom call, and you're trying to demonstrate something, this could be really handy as well. And if I wanted to get a bit more advanced with these demonstrations, what I can do is sort of show you something just like this. Then if I make an L shape and then sort of move up like this, the camera should zoom into me. Then I can demonstrate some more what I've got on this wall here. And then once I've finished demonstrating this, I want to go back to the wide and make the L shape again, bring it down, and the camera zooms back out. And then I can just allow the tracking to continue to follow me across the room. So this is really beneficial if you're trying to demonstrate something in a room. A really underrated feature of this camera is the amount of places you can actually put it in your room. So it's obviously quite a long wire because it's connected to the back monitor here, and the wire goes all the way across the desk. It's also got a tripod thread on the bottom, which is what I've got connected to right now. And it's got a little flap which you can open up and obviously put on top of your monitor. This flexibility allows you to put the webcam where you want in the room, so it'll face only certain points of the room. Whereas obviously if you're using your laptop, you can only have it facing behind you. If you're using one of these, what I do is place it on that side of the desk, facing that way, because that's the nicest side of the room behind the camera there. The thing is about video calls though, is they don't always happen at the most convenient of times. Sometimes you've got to dial in from a cafe or an airport or a busy office. There's going to be lots of background noise and people just not want to hear you speaking. But the microphones on the Insta360 Link have a noise cancelling mode, so in theory it should focus on your voice and cancel out any background noise. But to test that, I've brought along a drill, and we're going to test the quality of that versus the professional microphone which I've got attached to me now, and see if this one is going to cancel out the background noise a little bit better. So what you're hearing now is the audio from the Insta360 Link. So in theory it should be cancelling out the drill noise and focusing on my voice. And then what you're hearing now is the DJI mic that's attached to my chest, and this doesn't cancel out background noise, it captures everything. So in theory, the Insta360 Link should be doing a better job at isolating my voice. I really hope that test worked. Okay, editing Chris here. That was a bit of an extreme test, and obviously you could probably hear a little bit more audio from the DJI mic. But what you're going to see is that with other microphones, whilst you can probably hear yourself clearly, you'll also be able to hear the whole background clearly as well. Whereas if you're in a cafe or something, you're going to be able to hear the person clearly and not so much the audio in the background. So privacy is obviously a huge concern at the moment, and that's why there's a mechanical privacy in this. So when you turn off the camera, it'll automatically start pointing down, so that it takes out the guesswork, whereas other manufacturers would probably use like a light or something to show you if the camera's in use. This one just points down to take out the guesswork completely. Now the next feature is one of those, oh, maybe one day I'll use that kind of features, but if you change your mindset and figure out a way to use it, it's actually going to be really handy, and that's called Whiteboard Mode. So although it's called Whiteboard Mode, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a whiteboard. Imagine for a second that you're doing a presentation and you've got a projector or something that's going to go on the wall. And you can do your presentation like this, but when you want the audience to just see what's on the projection, all you have to do is do this little sign and it will automatically snap to the little corners. And that leaves me then just to point to different things that are on the wall or on the whiteboard and do my little presentation. And then all I have to do to switch back to me is do the little symbol. That will detect that I've done that and it will switch back to me. On a lot of other webcams, the sensor's so small and everything's in focus, so you don't really need autofocus. The Insta360 Link has a bit of a bigger sensor, which means it lets in more light, but it also needs good autofocus to keep you in focus. But this means also you might get a blurry depth of field if I get closer to the camera and get that sort of blurry background effect. But also, if you're a streamer and you want to show off a product or do an unboxing or a sponsored segment and hold something up to the camera, you'll see that the webcam will instantly focus on whatever you're holding up, and then when I put it back down, it will snap back to my face. I was actually really impressed with the speed of the autofocus. It's super fast, locks on really quickly. But the thing is, if you sort of move it off so you can see my face, it'll automatically focus back on my face. So if you go to hold something up, don't expect it to focus on it unless it's in front of your face. It sort of needs a product showcase mode where it focuses on something closer to the camera like Sony does, rather than just automatically focusing to the face every time. So features like the AI tracking, the whiteboard mode and the noise cancellation make this camera perfect for an office environment. But where I think this really shines is for streamers. And talking of streaming, this webcam has just one more thing up its sleeve. Obviously you can have it on top of a monitor and facing you like this, so it just becomes a face cam. But another way to use it would be to face it down towards your keyboard and mouse, which I've seen in some gaming streams. And the best way to do that is a button at the bottom of the desktop app called Desk View Mode. If you click that, the gimbal just automatically points down, flips the image so it's the right way up, and now you've got a nice little view of your keyboard and mouse when you're gaming, for example. It can also be used for little product demonstrations using the autofocus that we spoke about earlier. So you can do your little demonstration and then click the desk view button again, and that will switch it back to a sort of face cam sort of view. Quick tip: when switching to the top down mode, you'll lose your visuals and your audio for like a second or two, and the same thing happens with the whiteboard mode. I found out this the hard way, but luckily I had a microphone recording on me anyway, so that's the audio you're hearing there. But I think there might be a stigma around the word webcam, because webcams can be a bit boring. So they might be underselling it by calling it a webcam. The way I see it, what it is a really capable, a really high quality camera with a lot of really good software features. It just has to be attached to a computer. And you'd normally pay $300 for a good camera anyway. And that takes me to one of the best use cases of this camera in my opinion, and that is streaming. If you're a streamer and you want a 2-camera setup, you can have one of these pointing down at your mouse and keyboard, or one face cam, or one tracking you around the room, and it's really easy to use. It might be a little bit on the pricey side, but it costs about 2 of these to get a Sony point and shoot camera, and you don't get all of those AI features included, which obviously limits what you can do with the cameras. So my rather long-winded conclusion is this isn't targeted at everybody, and not everybody's going to want to buy something like this. But if you are a streamer or a content creator and you want to level up your kind of visuals of that, or maybe you want to get a multi-camera setup that doesn't cost the world, then this is going to be for you. Or if you're a business person, or maybe a small business who does lots of video calls, maybe you're out and about doing video calls from hotels or cafes, then this is going to be really useful because of the versatility of it. And that's going to be it from me. So if you've got any questions on this webcam, leave them in the comment section. If you found it informative or helpful at all, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.